Hello, travelers! Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn, where we discuss homebrew for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Come on in, take a seat, and join us as we find interesting homebrews from all over the internet and share them with each other and discuss what's interesting, what's unique, and what's silly about them. My name is Thomas the Human Bard, and I am joined today by...
Mercy the Tiefling Wizard.
Onog the Half-Orc Barbarian.
I don't know.
She's stealthing.
Did you guys hear anything?
And I was trying to do an ASMR thing. And Bean the Rock Gnome Rogue.
Well, I saw that you were crouched, so I thought you were in stealth
Well,
mode.
yeah, I just...
Oh, that's why
My
we couldn't
passive
hear
perception's
you
like
so
2,
well,
so
you were crouched.
I didn't
Well,
know you were
everyone
even
knows
in
the
the
way
room.
that you do ASMR, aka like sneaky talk, is you just squat down and then talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it works?
Yep.
So here on the show, we like to find weird, interesting, creative things from all over the internet that
Yep.
people have made for D&D 5th edition. Yeah.
They sure have.
And today, we're going to be discussing a magical item that Bean has brought for us. So Bean, talk to us about this magic item.
All right, well, buckle up. Have you ever wanted a little pal, a little friend, a little guy, but you didn't have to worry too much about obedience? He just kind of did what you said. And then have you also kind of followed someone without their permission? I present to you the Walkie Talkie.
Okay.
This is
Like
a
I
one-
said, you don't have to worry too much about obedience, because I hate it when my friends aren't obedient
I
enough.
know, right? You're like, go to the right, and they don't move? Well, don't worry, this is gonna solve that. While this little buddy may not exactly be very sentient, he is a golem, so it does kind of make him somewhere in between an item and a person. We're not gonna get into the, like, morality or...
It seems to be a mouth on 2 turkey legs.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
With-
it, or maybe the world's worst Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah. So
The
basically...
mouth, the turkey that bites you back.
Yeah. So this item is from something called the Tavern of Trinkets. They make a lot of cool things, and they also have a Patreon, patreon.com/trinkets. So if you're interested in supporting makers out there who make D&D content, that is absolutely a way that you can support them. So...
Yeah, I think we've actually talked about one Tavern of Trinkets item before, but I can't remember.
I know, I was thinking the
for
same thing.
life of
I
me
have
what
no
it
idea
is.
if we have or
We'll
not.
try and figure it out and put it in the description if we can.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see if we can link to it.
We may have just talked about them in our, like, actual lives, so it's hard
It's
to
also
know
possible.
what has been on the podcast and what hasn't. But, so the Walkie Talkie, it's a wondrous item, uncommon. Shaped from clay, this device is made up of 2 pieces. An armless golem with a toothy grin and a small remote. So basically you have yourselves, like, a remote control golem.
What
The
it
remote-
reminds me of is those, like, R2-D2s that you got for, like, Christmas that were supposed to be like, oh, it'll do anything. It'll be your little butler. But really could just do one thing, which
Yeah.
was tell you that it was out of batteries.
It's just an upsetting BB-8 toy.
I mean,
Yeah.
essentially what it boils down to is you can tell the golem to move around directions, follow someone, and talk. But let's get into the details of that more. So the remote has 9 buttons, each of which is associated with a different effect. While not in use, the golem stands motionless, with its mouth shut. I like that detail so that
I
it's
like
not
that
just
very important detail.
despite the picture. The golem is a small object with the following statistics. Armor class 14, hit points 25, speed 30 feet, damage immunities acid, poison, or psychic, or acid if you just want to add acid and poison together.
Ah, yes, the famous acid poison.
Some poisons are acidic. Anyway, the golem and the remote are connected by 2 sticks from the same tree, which have been embedded in the clay of both objects. Removing either stick will break the connection. Break the
Like
connection.
little antennae.
Yeah,
That's
little
so cute.
antenna.
The little antenna, and that also does establish that this is a very easily broken magical
Yeah,
item.
maybe get your golem like a little helmet. I don't know if that would interfere with the, like,
The
signal.
Can I get
but,
barding? Can I get barding on my goal, a little armor for him?
Yeah.
I love the childlike innocence that I feel like goes into making this, like the idea of a kid being like, I'll make my own walkie-talkies if my mom won't buy me them, and just sticking a stick in something and being like, looks like an antenna to me. and then it works.
Yeah. Well, literally, you just made like a ball of mud, put a stick in it, and then like it started following people, and you were like,
Boom,
dope,
radio
I
waves.
love this.
Gain some horrid form of sentience.
Yeah, so anyway, here's what each of the buttons do. So you got 9 buttons. You can press one of the remote's 9 buttons as a bonus action. The remote has a range of 1 mile, outside of which the buttons have no effect. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, except if you've ever had a remote control object, 1 mile is like
Really
really
good.
good.
Yeah.
That's a very efficient.
You know, walkie talkies always say like 20 miles, but then if there's a single tree, it's like, nope, I'm done. So, you know.
I feel like it's like a magic item, and there's dumb rules about magic items needing to take actions and stuff, no matter what they are. But pushing a button is literally one of the things listed as like an object interaction
Yeah.
in the player's handbook.
So-
like this doesn't take an action or bonus action. Pushing
Nope.
buttons is free.
Except that not if it's a magic button.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not if it's a
It's
magic button. Magic buttons
Yeah.
take time. Same thing
Because
with.
magic buttons require magic to use. Look at these. They're literally holes, little finger divots in a piece of clay.
Well, and the same thing goes for, I believe it's like the ever-smoking bottle, where it's like opening a bottle is explicitly also stated as an object interaction that doesn't require its own action, except for opening the ever-smoking bottle certainly takes a whole action.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yep.
just, yeah.
That's D&D just be like that.
Just-
Anyway, let's talk about these 9 magic buttons. You press button 1, the golem moves north. You press button 2, the golem moves east. You press button 3, the golem moves south. You press button 4, the golem moves west. Oh my.
Nice.
Which I like that normally I'm not a fan of cardinal directions because I'm geographically challenged, except that if the golem has like wandered out into the woods and you can't see it, and you're like, wait, oh, I don't know which way it's facing, then you could totally just end up like having it go the complete wrong direction.
If it was like turn right, left, or up.
And
yeah, or
if you
something.
were like,
Yeah.
oh crap, it went that way, but then when I turn to look at the map, I now can't remember which direction it's facing.
Mm-hmm.
So by having cardinal
Also-
directions, it's nice.
There's a small bonus like benefit to this, which is that it activates as a compass. If you're in the Underdark and you need to know what direction north is, you push the go north button and it will know what direction to walk.
Oh, I mean, it is
That
like
is-
a really huge, chunky compass, but you know.
It's the
Now,
most
my question
elaborate and
is-
frustrating compass.
My question is if you take this thing to the North Pole and push any button but south, what does it do?
No,
it explodes.
It implodes.
All buttons are south for a while.
It does that. It does the Pac-Man thing where its mouth consumes itself like we're in reverse.
Yeah.
And then it's gone.
It like suddenly the remote says divided by 0, and you're like, what? And then it just stops
no.
working. Button number 5 is where we start to get out of just directions. It's no longer just sort of a remote control little golem dude. Button number 5. The golem starts to follow the nearest creature within 60 feet of it. It takes the shortest route to do so. The golem will continue following the creature, moving at the end of your turn, until you press the button again or use a different button. If prevented from moving or the creature moves away more than 60 feet from the golem, it starts walking around in circles. Just as like a layover. No, holding pattern. Yeah, it's a holding pattern.
I thought it was like trolling for new people to follow. It's like trying to find somebody. It's walking in a circle. Like,
Yeah,
all right,
the moment
where's my
somebody
next
comes
target?
within 60 feet, it
Now-
then just starts following them.
Snacks to them.
I think, you know, when you hear Walkie Talkie, you're like, oh, it's a thing that you use to follow other people. To me, the obvious use of that function is so that if you move, that your DM doesn't technically say, like, well, it only moves when you tell it to move north, south, east, or west.
Sure.
So, like,
you
you
do
have
that
to
and
push
you're
the
the
buttons.
nearest thing, and it's then followed.
Yeah, and then it
Yeah.
just follows
Yeah.
you and you don't have to worry about it. Except also,
Yeah.
if, like, you are wanting to not lose sight of someone, you could just have it, like, follow them into the woods. And they're trying to sneak off, but the golem is, like, following it, and you're like, I think they're this way. So,
Well, how big is it?
I mean,
Well,
it's
it makes a lot
small,
of
but
noise.
it's clunky.
Well, it makes a bunch of noise if we in the next buttons.
Yeah, so that's the
Make
thing,
it
is there
be
are...
loud. Yeah.
You
Gotcha.
can make it loud, but I would imagine it's not stealthy.
It actually doesn't give a size.
It doesn't say how big it is.
Oh no,
yeah.
it
It
is
does,
a
it's
small
small.
object.
It's a
Okay,
small
yeah.
object, yeah.
It just didn't
Okay,
give
gotcha.
it in like the normal
No.
monster stat way.
Yeah. But I do like the little circles thing of it. It doesn't hold still.
It wanders about.
It wanders around. Very cute. All right, and then if you press button 6, you can speak a short message of 25 words or less into the remote, causing the golem to repeat that in a booming voice which can be heard up to 100 feet away. So, like, maybe a member of your party leaves or something, and then the golem shows up like, coo, 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 and then it opens its mouth and it's like, and never come back, Shirley!
I was thinking it could be used as, like the police have these, and they're like, clear the area. Nothing to see here.
They send them out and they're like, we are pursuing you. Stay where you are and drop your weapons. It goes out ahead
Is
of the
this
cops.
thing on? Is this thing on? Is this thing on?
Or, I mean, like, maybe at sports games, there's just these little golems walking around in all of the aisles yelling out whatever the announcer is saying.
Yeah.
Or just yelling out, peanuts! Get your peanuts! Hot dogs! Cold drinks!
Hot drinks, cold dogs.
Button 7. Now, this is kind of what we were mentioning a second ago. The golem emits a thunderous roaring, casting thunder waves centered on itself. This property can't be used again until the next dawn.
Love it.
Button 8 is similar. Casts a ringing noise, and it makes a ringing noise, and it casts shatter centered on itself. Can't be used again until the
Pretty
next dawn.
powerful.
I know! It's like you're sending this little, like... You send the
Bomb.
golem in, and then the message, this golem will self-destruct in now.
That's very good.
And then, button up.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just, real quick, I'm just checking here. Thunderwave, like, any creature inside the Thunderwave.
Yeah.
Same thing with
it's
shatter.
hitting itself.
So that's the thing
Well,
is...
but when you cast Thunderwave, you don't hit yourself.
But that's
You
because
can-
it's a
because you can
cube
choose
that
not to.
originates from you.
Oh, but it's centered.
This is
So that's the
centered
thing.
on
So it will destroy it. Yeah.
is I don't know if it
It-
would destroy it, but then it says can't use it again till the next dawn. So in my head, that implies
Might be an
that
oversight.
it doesn't damage it.
Well, but that's the thing
Yeah.
too, though, is it also doesn't have a Constitution stat, which is the defensive stat
Yeah.
against that. So it's like clearly,
immortal.
clearly as worded, it would be within the range of effect of the spell,
It's
and it
indestructible.
has hit points, so you know it's like going to take damage, but can it even pass
Has
a
no way
save
to
for a
interact.
stat it doesn't have? I think that's
Mercy
just one of
brings up a
those
good point.
nitty-gritty things we've run into.
Yeah, definitely. I think Mercy brings up a good point. It's like you're at Walmart and you're like, "There's no tag on this. That means it's free, right?" It's like, I don't have a Constitution stat. That means I'm invincible, right?
In certain games, that does mean that.
I
well,
rigged it.
and then here's the question. Maybe, I mean, like, how much damage does Shatter and Thunderwave normally do on average?
2d8 for Thunderwave and 3d8 for Shatter. at
So
their
you
base levels.
you could say like 8-ish for Thunderwave.
Yeah.
And
The
Eight.
problem with Thunderwave is that any creature that fails to save is pushed 10 feet away from the caster. So if you are targeted by it, how are you pushed 10 feet from
You
yourself?
go 10
Good
feet
question.
into the ground.
You go 10 feet into yourself as you implode.
Torn in half.
Well, maybe the idea is that it does hurt it, and you just only get to do that so many times until the things, like,
Maybe.
are destroyed.
I think probably it seems like the intent would be that it just originates. Thunderwave is a weird one where a lot of people just imagine the Thunderwave spell being like you smash the ground and a
Right.
circle of Thunderwave blows out from you. That's just like not how the spell actually works.
Yeah.
But it's like a classic
Yeah.
kind of misconception.
Well, so then maybe that's the question. Maybe that's something that your DM will try to discern of, like, okay, this thing doesn't affect it, or it does, and in order to have this cool object that you can make walk into the camp of bad, it's like, and all the, what are they called?
Bandits?
Thank you. All the
The word you just said?
Yeah, look, I'm like a goldfish, okay? I can forget a word I just said. I have every right to do that. But it walks into the bandit camp, and all the bandits are like, what the? And then, boosh, Thunderwave goes off. The DM might decide, okay, that's like a really, really cool thing to do, and so as a trade-off, this object is going to get damaged every time it does that. So
And will need
Sure.
to be repaired.
and either repaired or
Gotta
just can only do that
glue it
so
back
many
together.
times before it just
You gotta
falls apart.
spit in the mud, kind of pat
Yeah.
it back together.
All
It
right.
just gets more and more like ramshackle every time.
Yep. And then here is the final button. Button 9. The golem starts moving towards you, taking the shortest route to do so, and loudly repeating the last sentence spoken within 60 feet of it. It will continue moving towards you and moving at the end of your turn until you press this button again or use a different button. So that's like an espionage kind of thing.
Except that it loudly repeats it, which
Yep.
is great. You're like stealthily eavesdropping, and then it's like, I'm killing the king tomorrow! Like a siren
Running back
over
to
and
you.
over running towards your location.
It's just running through town screaming, the king has ears like a goat! And like, or the king has ass's ears. I don't know, whatever the... I tried to make a cool Greek mythology reference and I flubbed it. But it is, like, I love everything about this in that it could be this sneaky, awesome, dope, like, spy gear, except it is not that.
It is
Could
a
be.
loud boy.
In
It could be like a
Anyway.
SWAT drone.
Yeah.
But it is not. It is a loud, ugly child that you must constantly look after.
Yeah.
So it's not
Until it
destroyed.
explodes.
You're like, all right, little Timmy, I'm gonna need you to run over there because you're real small and I don't think they'll see you. And whatever they say to each other, I need you to come back and tell me. And then he's listening, and then little Timmy just stands up in the bushes and yells like, I am leaving you for your sister! I'm leaving you for your sister! And like runs through the woods screaming that. And you're like, okay, thanks, Timmy. That was like really not what I had in mind. But like, I appreciate you doing what I said. So I love the Walkie Talkie in its kind of glorious use. It's just so close to being this almost like overpowered object of spy capabilities, and it still is like a total little spy thing, and it's small, but it is
just
not.
much more
It is not
situational.
subtle in any way. And just all of the storytelling ideas of it, you know, walking into a camp and saying something and exploding, or like listening in on people, or you know, let's say it's listening on your party, and all of a sudden, the last sentence you said just starts echoing through the trees, and you have to run and chase down the walkie-talkie and, like, destroy it before it gets back to whoever had it
The
last.
classic, you were actually filming them, and what they were saying is on the Jumbotron.
But it's
trick.
just this one little mouth.
I mean, there's, like, the scene in The Incredibles where the kids are, like, the bird with the cameras in its eyes watching them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's, like, kind of like that, but not as
Okay.
cute.
Who remembers the class feature variants on Earth Arcana from a little bit ago? Yeah? Yeah?
I do. Raise my hand.
One of the new ones was the Warlock got a new option with like, what was it?
With the
no, it
necklace?
was like a pendant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it was like a
pendant.
necklace. And it was like you can give it to another creature,
yeah.
and then you can like teleport to that creature whenever you feel like.
Oh, that's cool.
Or vice versa, too.
Oh my gosh, you could just put it on
So
this
you-
guy.
So you put it on this guy, and you have him running, and then you show up where he's at as he's like walking into their camp being like, everybody come over, look at me, investigate me, and they're like, huh, and you do your sneaky thing, but then you also like prepare fireball, teleport to him, and you're like, surprise.
He
Got
like
him.
opens
Is he
his
a
mouth
creature,
and
though?
you crawl out of his mouth and then like cast fireball.
Why did you make
How
it so
does
bad?
that work? Because it says it's a small object, but it says it's a golem, and golems are creatures.
I would
Yeah.
classify this as a creature.
It's a construct.
It's-
Like
it's
a
running a
magic.
weird kind of
it's a
line.
magic construct
Yeah.
of the week instead of a magic item
Which
of the
in
week.
the monster manual are defined as creatures that are
Right,
just
constructs
not
are, yes.
things that are alive.
yeah, like if you want to lay
That's
down.
just one of
the-
those little wording things you gotta.
If
look
you
out
want to go
for.
full lawyer on your DM, if you're
Well,
like.
I was just noting that because it doesn't say construct in this description. It says
Right.
object,
But it does say
also says
golem.
it's a golem. So
Which
that's the
is
thing
just
where
a
it's
little-
like, yeah,
little
you
interesting.
just gotta look for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's another one of those things where it's like following the established pattern makes understanding intent and like ramifications a lot easier. But I think this is a really
Definitely.
cool place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really enjoy it. Yet again, I do just, it reminds me of every, like, bad, awful toy you get as a kid that just makes too much noise and
Yep.
and always is more frustrating than cool, where it's like a transformer. It's like, oh, it will transform with a push of the remote button. But when you do it, it just, like, makes a loud siren-y noise, kind of folds in half and falls over. And that's all
Yeah.
it does.
This,
Yeah.
this is the toy that your parents get you for your birthday. And you're like, oh, cool, this remote. And then they end up hating it because all it does.
Well, no, see, that's This is the toy that you get from another kid at your birthday
and your
party.
parents are like,
and your parents are like, no,
We do not get him
a
toys that make
walkie-talkie."
noise.
No,
So-
All of a sudden, like, they're talking, and then all of a sudden they hear things like, "It's not working, Jim! It's not working, Jim! It's not working, Jim!" As he, like, runs through the house, and the kid's like, "What does that mean?" And they're like, "Oh, we weren't ready to tell you."
Now I did just remember, speaking of toys that were noisy, and this does have sort of ramifications for the walkie-talkie. I had a little robot remote control that was one of those like one button input toys where it's like pressing it once is go forward, pressing it twice is go back and turn.
Oh gosh.
And it's one of those things where it's like it was kind of cool. It was little well made. It didn't really make noise. It was just a remote control guy. And then one night while I was sleeping or like going to sleep, suddenly it just lurched and flung itself off of my shelves, and like the remote control was next to it, and I freaked out. And my dad explained it's like, well, it was probably just a passing radio wave or something that did that. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure Toy Story is real.
I'm pretty sure this toy does not want to be owned by me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is real.
Ghosts.
But then that brings implications of if the limitations of the remote control is just that it is a twig from the same tree. What happens if a tree gets split up that was the source of these things?
Okay, so I mean that could be a fun thing to do.
You
as
start
a
getting crossing signals.
No, but you do that as a DM. You figure it out. That's a mission, and your party has to go find the tree that the golem was made from and get a branch so that they can hack into the golem and control it themselves.
That went in a completely different direction. I thought you were going to say there's lots of room for like your party to wake up in the middle of the night to this thing just like whispering your deepest secrets that you've never told another soul.
Yeah, like that's the other
probably
direction.
just radio waves, guys. It's probably nothing.
It's
Don't
probably
worry
just
about
our
it.
brain radio waves. Hey, I probably shouldn't sleep with this in my inventory. Can I give it to you?
I think you
It's
just said.
always like licking its lips and looking in your direction, and you're like, no.
No.
Also, I just want to point out that Onog just said brain radio raves, and like.
Ooh, radio raves will actually come up later, so that's important.
Nice. All
right, let's all
everyone
remember
that.
This rave is radio themed.
Yes. Video killed the radio.
Onog is
Oh
giving
my
me an
gosh.
ultimate death stare, and I want him to know that I love him and support him, and just. Please don't kill me.
I feel like we got there
Very easy
eventually
to
on
trope.
this one.
Yeah.
All right, Walkie Talkie, thanks for bringing that bean. Tavern of Trinkets, they do a lot of great work. They do a lot of really interesting creative stuff. Go check them out on Patreon. We'll obviously link to the subreddit post. It looks like it's from r/Unearthed Arcana, so we'll link that in the description. Go check this out. Give them some feedback on what you liked or didn't like, and go check out their website. And hopefully this thing won't like wake up in the middle of the night and start talking to me, even though I've removed the batteries already. And so we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening, Travelers. Let us know what you think of this Walkie Talkie. What uses does this have? It's obviously not good for stealth. What could you do? Give us your most interesting way of utilizing this in your game. Comment that below. And remember to like and subscribe for more D&D homebrew review content in the future from us. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram at the Copper Fox Inn. And until next time, keep on adventuring.
All right.
The king has donkey ears.